big wrap party. And so it's super simple. You have all the documents in the e-suite. You literally can print it out. You know exactly what we're supposed to do. It's duplicatable. It's energetic. It's exciting. We're there to introduce these products to the guests that we're bringing in that room. And I just love sharing it with so many people because I'm the queen of making things up when I meet people. And I'm like, I have a wrap party on this day. And it's really a one team. And they show up and there's 500 people there. And so I just love the one team. We have rules within our business because this is a career for us. So we feel that it's very important to be consistent with it. We do them at least once a month. Our team has adopted that. If I am not able to make one, I know that they all have our backs. I know if I send someone out to LA, Barb's gonna have our back. And it's just an amazing way to duplicate this business and get in front of more people. And so we love getting the guests there because that's what it's all about.
But before we talk about home parties, let's go, you know, when you're doing these one team, one mission wrap parties, you know, you get to that average income slide. And whether Pam's doing, you know, Pam Souter has flown in and is doing the presentation, or it's one of us. Number one, you need to be a triple diamond or above to have a one team, one mission wrap party. A one team, one mission wrap party can be a hotel room with 30 people. So, you know, don't think I don't have enough people here yet to do it, because it's kind of like that movie Field of Dreams. If you have it, they will come and they'll keep coming and they'll keep coming. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So, but tell me what you do during the average income chart to make sure it's geared towards guests, because this is what I'm finding in my traveling around and doing one team, one missions with other people. I think there's confusion and it turns into a training. And it's not a training, it's geared for our guests. And I know you're like, well, I've been there every month and I'm not learning anything new. Yes, you're learning exactly what you need to learn every month. You need to know how to give the party pad presentation, and then you're hearing stories, success stories, testimonies. And so how do you ensure that it doesn't turn into a training?
You know, I try not to ask about tips because we're there telling people, don't quit. And they're guests and they're thinking, why would I quit? You guys are doing amazing. And so I think it's really, really important to follow those steps that corporate's put out there for us and ask an aha, or ask what products changed their life, or how the financial end of it's changed their life versus tips, and scaring our guests out of signing essentially because of one bad situation that was they want to teach. So it's definitely not a training. We make sure it's very geared. That's why we call it a one team, one mission wrap party. It's very important at that end of it.
The only thing I would say different than a home party is you might spend a little more time on the business, because that's why most people are there. The other thing I want to let ambassadors know, and we talked about this on the phone, is you know, we can hold the microphone as ambassadors, and in Michigan we have there's like a couple dozen of us that show up at these one team, one mission wrap parties, and we all really try to keep it to a minute, because if ambassadors get talking 15, then it does turn into a training again. We just have to be really thoughtful about why we're there. So you build with one team, one mission wrap parties. You avoided getting to a wrap party in a home at all costs and then you finally got there, and I know that's how you build. So tell me what you love about wrap parties.
I love wrap parties. One, the red in me, it's the highest volumes I ever have ever, because you can explain more, people understand the program. I also have noticed personally within my loyal customers that they are lifelong loyal customers because they are educated at that party about other products, our 3-month investment in their health. I love to make a joke and say, you know you're going to want to be healthy longer than 3 months, so you might as well get all these free perks. And so I throw those things in. I'm able to educate. I was a preschool teacher. My husband was a teacher. So I just really value really creating lifelong customers. And then I love to be able to, I love to analyze rooms. I love to read people. So from the moment I walk in that door, I'm figuring out who the next distributor is, who's going to be my 4 loyal customers, who's going to be the 3 to make that person Ruby. And I adore them. They're just so much fun.
I love that you're already filling out the steps of success in that room through your head. You know what I like about home parties most is I get to get in the wrap room with people. And that really is where I get to know, like, what brought them here tonight? What are they struggling with just during the day? Something they hated about their job, and it gives me an opportunity to talk about this business, or just be a friend. And right, John Eric says all the time, we get paid to make new friends and be a good friend and help our friends. And that's what I feel like we get to do at those wrap parties. Thank you, Jen. Amy, I know you're doing a lot of in-home wrap parties, and you were one of the most inspirational things for me when we were having our talk, because the fact that you went ambassador in 13 months and you partied your way to ambassador. She told me, I partied my way to ambassador, and I was like, yes, I'm not living in the Stone Age, because I party all the time, but I didn't get to ambassador in 13 months. And so I was like, I love that because it truly is what builds, doesn't just get you there, but it keeps you there too. So tell us how you partied your way to ambassador.
Well, my first launch party, Allie drove 2 hours to launch me, which was awesome, but I remember no one signed up as a loyal customer. So, I had sold a few wraps and I was kind of discouraged, but it was exciting because I felt more confident when I left there. So that's what I try to tell my team, always have your launch party. It doesn't matter if no one shows up or if anyone joins as a loyal customer. And then after that, I did a couple parties, but I'm an events girl, so I love bridal shows and craft fairs and just, races, like 5Ks in your hometown, contact someone. A lot of times they'll let you set up a booth for free, and you're constantly getting new leads. And so after I went presidential and I came to conference, I had done a show in December. The conference was in January, and I was like 128 distributors away from ambassador. And I just knew that I was going to go ambassador. And so I followed up with all the leads from all the shows I had done and just continued to follow them up with my Triple Diamond, Brooke Barnes, who's not here, but I think she's watching. And her and I booked like 30 parties one month. So it was like 30 parties in February and then like 20 parties in March, and I went ambassador.
It was all from events. These so cold contacts, first of all, which can be challenging, and when you do wrap parties with them, it makes them warm contacts. So I love that. One last question too before we move on and talk about Zoom. I'm trying to remember what you said, but I don't remember. Okay, we'll move on to Zoom. Okay, so Amy, you also are starting to use this new, and if you've never used Zoom, I just want to encourage you to go to your app store and download Zoom, Z-O-O-M. It's a blue, well, you can see it on this cool slide, cool. But this has just transformed the way that I do business and the way I connect with my team. So tell me, why did you start using Zoom and how are you using it with your team and your business and parties?
Well, I want to give a huge shout out to Denise Wash out there. You changed my business. Anyways, she was my partner at Dash, and she told me about Zoom. I didn't even know Zoom existed. And so I remember when she left, I was sitting at the table with Lauren Cosmatis, and we looked at each other and we were like, we got to go download that. And so we started implementing Working Wednesdays on our team, and then it kind of grew. This is how I connect with potentials who live in different states. It's so simple. You get them on there, you see that face-to-face interaction, and you're building that relationship. And also, we just go through the party pad. It's so simple. And so Zoom has transformed our business, my team.
Well, and if you can't be in the living room with someone, Zoom is the next best thing. And I struggle.
It's free.
And it's free, yes. And I struggle connecting with my out-of-town team. Like I get to have that contact with my local teammates. And I know you said you do a ton. Like it has literally just brought all that connection for you guys and your team.
We do 3 Zooms a week. So I love giving shout outs to my team because I wouldn't be up here if it wasn't for them. But Kayla Bass and Lindsay Bishop, they are 2 of my ambassadors. And we, from the very beginning, have always done team calls. And so that's what we were doing up until Dash, 3 team calls a week. And then we switched to 3 Zooms. And it's so cool because when you get someone brand new and you sign them up, if you just tell them, get your potentials on a Zoom and let me talk to them. I mean, that's how we're signing so many people up because I'm talking to people's potentials.
When you told me that on the phone, I was like, I'm starting that the minute I get back from, instead of saying, because we get together with them and go through their hundreds list. And what you're saying is, hey, just get a few people on this with me. It's like their pre-launch, if you will. I love that you're talking about the business forum, so they're learning, their team is growing, and when somebody signs a teammate or a customer, that's a win, and they're more excited to keep building. So I'm going to implement that for sure. Thank you. All right, Chantel, how are you using Zooms? Because I know that you've got a lot of team around the world, so that's how you're connecting with them. And you do it all. You do one-on-ones, you're doing wrap parties, so I'm certainly not saying you only do Zooms, but I was quite impressed by what you're doing on Zoom.
Well, for me, Zoom, I'm a relationship person, so I like to talk to people, I like to listen to them, I like to make eye contact, and build that relationship and really talk to them. And so Zoom for me, I just feel like it connects so many people, and it's so nice because most of the people I sponsor are not local to me. And so they are out of state, So Stacey Dennis was in Texas. Back then I used FaceTime or Skype, but I was able to present the party pad and do her launch party, and she just held up the little wrap, And
I love that.
It just connects you, and it lets they can ask me questions, and that new distributor can still be there and be present and show off what they're doing, but I can be that little hand holding them,
Well, and you said you actually have them wrap their gas before they bring you in on Zoom. So I thought that was cool too, because they're still doing that first part of the fundamentals. Step one is to all the sign in, and then step two is to get the wraps on them in the wrappers. So they're still doing that, and then they bring you in for the presentation.
Right.
I love that. And what a great support, because it just gives people that boost when they're getting started and they're nervous.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, how about you, Brienne? I know you kind of do it all as well, but you are loving Zoom and you do a lot online.
Yeah, I did a ton of parties. Like, I partied all the way till I got into Triple. And then my business changed. So I had to take a look at what I was doing, because I was enrolling so many people that were all over the country and all over the world. And so we had to find a way to connect that way. So yeah, we're using it for our team. We're using it for our parties. We do a lot of launch parties that way. A lot of times I'll encourage people to get other people, like for a little launch online, that are far away from them, like that aren't going to be able to come to their in-home party. And we'll do a launch party with them. They can see me do the party pad, and then they know how to do it for their in-home party. But I love them. I feel like when you can get in front of them and they can feel your excitement and they can learn a little bit about your personality. They know you're not just a robot sitting in an office somewhere responding to their messages. I feel like making it a lot more personal is really what has helped me to change my business. And I love getting my potential loyal customers and my potential distributors on Zoom calls also. Because it just makes things so much more personal, and they can actually get to know me, the person that they're, because in so much of this, they do need to get to know you. We're not always going to be the first person that someone knows in this business, because, gosh, look in this room, there's so many of us in here now. But we want them to think of us, and by making their experience a little bit more personal, I think that's really what's helped me.
Okay, so I love that you're doing that before they're actually having their launch parties. Like, I think that's genius. And when you're bringing those distributor potentials and those loyal customer guests on your parties, they're getting to see how we help each other. They're getting to see that they don't have to do this business by themselves. I think one of my favorite things to say at a party is, you're in business for yourself now, but you are not by yourself, and you have a team, and I'm here to mentor you. I'm going to steal what you said yesterday. I'm not going to build this business for you, but I'm here to mentor you. And I think Zoom is an incredible resource to help do that. Hi, Ashley. Hi. I know it's hard to sit there as you're going through all of them and you're trying to remember what you wanted to say and not be nervous. It's nerve-wracking up here. Aren't they doing amazing? I really made 5 very new friends over being able to host this panel, and I am just so thankful that you're all in my lives, and I've learned so much from you. Now I'll be calling you now. What are you doing on Zoom again? Remind me what that was. I just love how we get to just share and learn from each other. Ashley, again, your story inspires me. You are building this business for the most part online, like through Facebook and Instagram. Is that correct?
Yes, that's how I basically build my business, yes.
But you're still partying. So how are you getting local people? You know what I mean? Because what I'm thinking about is, okay, so if you're all online, you'd be Zooming all the time too, but you party every week with your team. You have a weekly team wrap party. You launch all your people, and yet you're building through Facebook and Instagram. I love that.
Yes, so if they do live out of town, the first thing I like to do is have them log into their eSuite, print off their party pad notes so they can glue those in, and I'm like, if you honestly can just read and invite people, you can do your party. But I used to Skype in. I will be doing Zoom now because it's way easier. But I would always Skype in to their party, and I would go through the distributor side. And so I would share my story, and then I also would send them videos of other leaders doing YouTube video or on YouTube doing parties. So if they've never been to a party, they kind of know what to expect. But as for getting local people off of Facebook or Instagram,
I don't know if anybody else knows this, but you can actually go on Instagram and in the search engine, type in a local place, like a restaurant or a movie theater, and then click places instead of the hashtag. And anybody that's ever made a post there will pop up. So you can just go in and start making friendships through that. And that's honestly what I've done.
Well, and I find that, Instagram and Facebook have become like almost the primary way some of the new people joining today are building, because it's awesome to say, I can build a business from my couch in my home on my phone, right? But what I loved hearing from you is saying that does not mean I'm not partying. That is one of the foundational parts of your business, and you have a very strong business. So tell me what you're doing with your team parties. I love that you're doing weekly team parties.
So we call them Wrap Wednesdays. Every Wednesday I just invite my entire team that's local to me to my house, and I will do the party. So I do the presenting. I just have them, if they have wraps, I tell them to bring their own wraps so they can wrap their guests. But yeah, I just invite anybody over. It's at the same time, same place every single week. And then I also obviously will do their launch parties outside of my house.
And you tell them to bring their own wraps, so they make their own wrap cash.
Right.
Plus you're not managing all that,
Yeah.
which I do really like that. We do team wrap parties too. And I find we just have, it's great, like when, I think it was Mike who said yesterday, when you are not having a good day, get to a wrap party. When you are having a good day, get to a wrap party for someone that's not having a good day. And I find that has been so helpful for me. There are Tuesdays where I'm just like, I don't want to go to the team wrap party today. Today has been awful. But then I go and I'm the money is awesome, but the friendships that I've been provided through this business has just been, there's no price tag that you can put on that. Okay, so I do want you to share something with me. We put her last for a reason. And Ashley, you have a tough story. You went triple diamond, you won that cruise from one of your ambassadors in your upline, and when you got back from that cruise, what happened? You were triple diamond at this time, right? And now today you're ambassador.
Right. So the day we got home from our cruise, our 5-month-old son passed away, and for at least a whole month I didn't work the business. Obviously, we were just kind of locked ourselves in our house for a while, and we had our twins still, and they were almost 2, or they had just turned 2. But I remember the next month when we got our next paycheck, and it was actually bigger than the previous one, I realized what I had in my hands on, and I just wanted everybody to be able to experience what we did. I very easily could have just given up then and been like, we made it this far, we don't really need it, it's okay. But I knew that there were other people out there that needed this, and I looked at my husband, who I had retired just a few months before, and he was able to spend every day with him. So I was just so grateful for that. And actually a month later, a girl reached out to me on Instagram who later became my first ambassador underneath me. And so you really just never know. You never want to give up. There's obviously going to be hard times in your business, and all of us are going to be going through different things, but it only matters how many times you get back up. We're all going to be knocked down in our business, so really just, you got to keep going and know that you are here for a reason, to bless other people's lives. You need to give this opportunity to everybody around you. Don't take that from them by not sharing this with them.
Well, and life happens. Number one, the fact that you only locked yourself in your house for a month, what a woman. We all understand what that would be like, and what a blessing that you had been able to bring Thomas home, so you guys did have all that time together. And that's what It Works is all about, and I feel like the Lord used that hard time in your life to go out and give a gift to other people. And Kinsey said last night in a group with a bunch of people in my room, find something bigger than yourself to really get connected to in this business, because it's not the money, it's not a new house, even though those are all wonderful things, and go after those things, but attach yourself to something bigger than yourself, because this business is so much bigger than a wrap thing. And when I heard your story, I want you to know that there are days where I think, they don't know what's going on in my life, and this sucks, and I don't want to go to another wrap party or whatever. And I just think of you, and I'm like, Ashley would look at me in the face and be like, suck it up and get out there. You have work to do. And I'm just so proud of you and Thomas and the example that you guys set for all of us, because life is hard, but doesn't mean you just stop showing up to work. You don't just get to stop going to work when life happens. And don't quit building your business when life happens, because when you're not having a good day, it's going to be your It Works family that loves you up and brings you out of that dark pit, you know? So, thank you for sharing that. We were like all getting psyched up for this in the back. Okay, so let's go through, yep, we got some time. I want to go through the 5 fundamentals again, and I want to have you guys share maybe a tip you do, like for instance, let's start with, you know what, I better talk about Facebook. I almost forgot to talk about Facebook. We did want to talk about Facebook events. We all don't use, I actually do them twice a week, but after talking to these women, I'm not going to do them as often, just because how Facebook is changing their rules. But they're doing them 1 or 2 times a month, and what I love about Facebook parties is I can do them after the kids go to bed. I can do them with my hair is a hot mess because nobody sees me. You know, and I can do it with my team on, you know, so whether somebody's posting and I'm answering questions. But again, we're just doing the party pad presentation. And when I invite my guests to those, you know, the people I just can't get to a party, or people that live so far away, I'm like, listen, you don't even have to show anybody you're on there. Now, if you want to win some free prizes, you should definitely check in. But you can just, you know, watch from your cell phone, in your home, from your robe, grab a glass of wine or some hot tea and just veg out with us tonight. And I'm finding that we're just having great responses with that. Is there anything any of you would wanted to add about the Facebook event thing? I know we had talked a little bit about it. You're doing them 1 to 2 times a month or something?
You know, we were doing them a lot more frequently, but I found that, and you know, like people on our team are having them all the time, but as far as the ones that I'm hosting, we have one big team one a month, and we found that more people are attending when it's a little bit less frequent, because they're not getting so much.
Well, they're not getting bombarded with requests multiple times a week. Yeah.
Exactly, you know, and we have to be more intentional with who we're inviting now, because of the rules that Facebook's changing.
I'm so glad you said that. We have a rule. You can have 10 guests, and you cannot go in and just invite every person on your friend list. Like, you send them an invite. When they say yes, then you add them, and they have to click that they're going. If you have a huge amount of people that have been invited and a small amount going, Facebook is going to flag you and shut that event down, because they know what you're doing and they're tired of people not being thoughtful on social media. So we have some major rules.
And I feel like that has really helped. That's really helped us. But by me not having as many people invited and as many people there, then I can have all my message box up at the bottom, and I can sit there and be talking to them. And I know you said how you can be a hot mess. Sometimes I will show them that I am a hot mess with my hair up in like a bun and stuff, like with my glass of wine. Like, I'll send them a funny selfie or something like that, just to let them know that, like, hey, like, I'm ready to party, and just to be funny. But it goes over so well, and they love it.
Well, and you said when you're doing Zoom parties, your kids will be running around in the background, and so they can see busy moms are doing this, and you know, I love that. You can include your children. Skylar will come sit on my lap sometimes and just snuggle with me while I'm doing trainings or team Zooms and whatnot. But okay, so let's start with the first fundamental, and this is where they get there, they're signing in. This is the sign-up table. We're going to diffuse oils there, because that's a great way to introduce oils without talking about every product in the product catalog. Tell me what you do. One of you had a really good tip you do right there at sign up.
When people come in, of course, you know, I welcome and everything, but every person at that party gets a clipboard with an order form, a loyal customer order form, and a distributor order form. And for those of you who are brand new and you don't have catalogs for everyone, just go laminate a couple catalogs that you get in your distributor, your business builder kit, so then you can pass them around and people can share them.
I love that idea. And Chantel, you said you take that a step further with that.
Yeah, I like
clipboard.
to highlight the products that we're going to demo, or the products that the distributor that I'm Zooming with is going to demo. So for sure, wraps, greens, fat fighters, defining gel, and then now I'll be highlighting the system.
You'll have the cleanse on there too.
Yeah.
Well, and just so you know, the corporate endorsed products for the party pad now is going to be the It Works system. So obviously you're doing thermal fit there, you're doing greens, you're doing the cleanse. but we're also facials, defining gel, but we're also going to include Fat Fighter still because we think having the Fat Fighter demo is very valuable. They can see what it's doing in their body. And then we close with a favorite, you know, like what's your favorite product? Because all of us have favorites, and I think when you have a favorite product that you love, you've got to share it with the guests in your room because they feel that passion. And like, I think there's a reason why certain people sell stretch mark cream like crazy because they love the stretch mark cream, or they sell tons of defining gel. I'm a cleanser selling fanatic because it's like my favorite product in the line. Most people don't sell cleanser at their parties, you know, but I talk about it. So make sure everybody highlights their favorite product during the presentation and watching the clock. Okay, so then step 2 is getting the reps on people. Did anybody have anything they wanted to add on that? I wasn't sure.
I just love to make people feel comfortable because what I want people to know is people walk in there and some know nothing. The hostess may not have talked to them. I try to really get myself involved in that invite, but sometimes it gets a little busy and that might not happen. So I really put myself in their shoes. They have no idea what they're doing. Little funny story, I've walked into a bathroom to wrap a woman and she was naked. So make sure you're letting them know, come cozy. Completely different. It is first to market, you know, and put yourself in their shoes because it's very, very important because they have no idea what's going on. And I thought they were playing a trick on me and it was legitimate. She's just done that every other time she's been wrapped. So it was a party in the bathroom for sure.
You're like, before we get started, go ahead and put your clothes back on. I've had the dress a few times where they're like, whoop, and I'm like, okay. But you know, wear underwear today, wonderful. Okay, so I want to make sure we're following the fundamentals. So now we're to the actual wrap party pad presentation. And I think sometimes when people think about the 5 fundamentals, they're thinking about that party pad presentation. But steps 1 and 2 are extremely important. Like you said, making those connections, getting to know your person, signing in, collecting the money. How many of you have launched somebody that you forgot to collect the money in the beginning? And then at the end of the night, nobody paid, and you're thinking, my new distributor just gave away $100 and you know, and it's awful. So we got to help them know what to do. So then we're at the party pad. You know, we're doing the welcome, the intro. You incorporate social media at the intro of your party pad. Tell us what you do.
I always make sure that I have people either with the host and myself send us friend requests while it's going on, because that's going to help us later down the road. Let's say that there's
secure the sale, right?
Exactly. It's gonna help us for step number 5. But we're already starting the follow-up process at the beginning of our party.
Well, and not to mention, they may not decide at night that it works for them, but by seeing you consistently live in the dream, friendships, fun, and freedom, they're gonna come on board eventually. And like you said, that follow-up starts immediately. So, okay, so now how about you have something really cool that you do. Oh, and I was gonna say, with that, we actually do a fun thing where we check in and tell them to tag us after they friend request us, to actually get them to do it right then and there. We give away a facial, but we say whoever has the most likes at the end of the night, likes and or comments. So you know what they're doing? They're texting, they're like, can we cheat and text? We're like, yes, you can. Because those are new prospects for us, those are new contacts. And when people see all those likes and comments, they actually want to do the business because they realize I might have some people interested in this. So I love incorporating social media. All right, now we talked about, as you're working through that party pad, does anybody have like a fancy way they introduce the loyal customer program?
I just let everybody know that they're investing in their health and that our company's amazing, and that's why I love them, the integrity, because they're willing to give you our cost so that you can really fall in love with it and be consistent, because it forces you to be consistent when you are investing the money into that product. And so for me, I really appreciate that corporate has our back and we don't have to take it out of our pocket in order to get these people to really value these products.
I love that. Okay, so now we're flipping over to the party pad, like steps 1, 2, 3. And you guys have some great ways at the party. So let's quickly share a couple of those tips because I think it helps someone to mentally go, oh my gosh, I can do this.
So what I do is after we get done with the party pad and going through some of the products, I ask them to write down 4 products that they love, like their wish list. We call it a wish list. And then I talk about, okay, now I want you to write down 3 people who you know that could benefit for some extra money or just some fun, freedom, and just new friendships. And so they do that, and then I ask them to write down 4 people in their life that they know that would like the products, you know, losing weight or just wanting to be healthy, or like you, I'm a big fan of skincare line. And then I talk about, well, you just completed the steps of success, and then once you complete your distributors, get your distributors and your loyal customers, you can use your $120 of your free product to buy your wish list.
I love that. So they're putting down a wish list. So they're like, you and I know that once we say we want something or we write it down or make it on our list, we go get it. We figure out a way to get it, right? So you're showing them a way to get it for free. I love that idea. I'm going to start doing that. Oh, and who else is doing the 4 steps? Or was one of you? Okay.
Yes, I did that too. So I always hand them out a steps to success form, and I just have them be filling it out while I do the exact same thing you do. So it just really gets them thinking. You know, if they weren't there contemplating being a distributor, they all of a sudden are like, wait, I could do this. I could find some people to use the products, and I know people that need an extra income. So.
Okay, so then we move to step 4, or a fundamental 4, which is unwrap. You know, use the app now to get their after pictures, let them whistle, and start that follow-up from the company. That's also a great place where they're bringing their clipboards in, and we're going to have them start filling out their paperwork. We're going to help them get the individualized attention that they need. And then the 5th fundamental is secure the sale. Now, in a home wrap party, that might look like, you know, making sure all the paperwork is filled out and you're getting these orders put in online. But when you're on a Zoom party or when you're on a Facebook party or somebody's just not ready to make that decision, what are some ways that we can give our family out here, you know, how to secure the sale?
I think it's important to find out what's holding them back. If there's anything holding them back, ask them questions. You know, usually it's 3 things. They're worried that they don't know enough people. They're worried they don't have time, or they're worried that they can't afford it. And so if you can ease their mind there, and Liz Barton gave me this tip, because I always get, you know, I got to talk to my husband, and she tells people, and so I tell them now, you know, and it's true. If I would have told my husband what I was doing, he probably would have been like, no, we shouldn't do that. But so he's glad I didn't tell him, you know, because now he's very happy.
Well, and you know, and I've actually heard that too. I've heard some people be more aggressive and go, your husband wasn't here tonight. He did not hear my presentation. If he needs to know, let's sit down with him together, but let's tell him together, that kind of thing.
And it's better to ask for forgiveness later.
I am all in with that. I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission any day. Well, and I use a 2x2x2 method with follow-up. And I know a lot of people do follow-up Fridays to help hold themselves accountable, so it's a great time to follow up with people that came to your party that didn't buy. But it's also a great time to follow up with people that came, like Facebook parties. We tell them the minute, like the next morning, go ahead and check in with them and see if they're ready to place that order. We do little giveaways, so that's another great way to connect with them as well. But, you know, have a system in place. My 2x2x2 is simply, you know, 2 days after, 2 weeks after, 2 months after. So even if it's my loyal customers I'm following up with, because they're my first line to hopefully be distributors someday. So, you know, securing the sale is important. Giving a party pad presentation, but then not closing it, that doesn't help you build your business.
You know, whenever I am doing my Zoom parties, a lot of times I just help them sign up right at that time. You're online with them. You can either walk them through the steps of going directly to your website, or I'll sign them up on my phone on the app, and I will show them how easy it is to run my business right from my phone, you know, and I'll be like, I can do this while I'm at the park with my kids, or I give them examples of how I'm running my business from my phone and how simple it is.
I love that. You guys are amazing. What do you think? Did you learn any extra special tips on how to party? I am so excited that